Welcome to CN Movies, the show where we review movies from a Christian's perspective. I'm the filmmaker.
And I'm the film watcher.
I watch... You got it.
I watch
films
all I
too!
do is watch films. I can't say I'm a filmmaker.
Fine. Be that way. Today we're reviewing The Hunchback of Notre Dame, released in 1996 by Disney. Not the really old Hunchback of Notre Dame, which I found out existed after this movie.
There's probably more than one.
No, there are. There are older ones from like the 20s
Yeah.
and stuff. I'm sure almost impossible to watch because of the silent movie era. But anyways, Hunchback of Notre Dame, released in 1996. Oh yeah, so this was released right after Pocahontas, 2 movies after The Lion King, I want to say.
This is your thing.
It's true, that is my thing. Nice. Yeah, it was released Lion King, Pocahontas, Hunchback. Lion King, as you might know, is right there with Frozen as one of the most popular Disney movies ever. And then Pocahontas apparently was a disappointment. I feel like we keep building up Pocahontas. Well, one day we'll review it. One day. But for now, we're reviewing Hunchback of Notre Dame. First category is story.
10 out of 10.
Why?
Because it's so different than almost any other. I know we keep saying Disney's original, and they're really good at making original
Well,
ideas.
we're only reviewing their... Right now, we've only done their golden era movies,
Yeah.
as I call it, from the 90s. So, I mean, we haven't reviewed anything from outside this era.
But literally, what other movie is the main character like a lovable, ugly
guy?
hunchback? Yeah. I mean, he is so sweet.
I like to think I'm the lovable, ugly guy.
You're not ugly.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, like, no.
Anyways, back to story.
Back to story.
It's very dark, yes. It's very gothic, but I don't know. I think it has a great story about overcoming, not even just handicaps, but like mental fears and just overcoming and doing what's right. And even if your mentor or whatever torture that has nothing.
You know, we haven't even read them the story. How do they even know what's going on? So this is inspired by the Victor Hugo's classic novel,
Obviously.
which is, well, we said this isn't the, some people don't, I didn't know until I looked this up that this wasn't the first Hunchback of Notre Dame. Thought they had made this up on their own. At the urging of his hilarious gargoyle pals, Victor, Hugo, and Laverne, those are the hilarious gargoyle pals, Quasimodo defies his evil guardian Frollo and ventures from his tower to the joyous festival of fools below. But the crowd turns cruel and rejects Quasi because of the way he looks. After another outcast, the gypsy Esmeralda, rescues him, Quasi finds himself battling to save the people in the city he loves, while reminding us to see people for who they are rather than how they appear. I don't know if anybody here is subscribed to Swoozy, but Swoozy is this guy on YouTube who used to work at Disney. And I guess he worked with this guy who was in love with the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And apparently every day at work at Disney, he would always draw Quasimodo. And he wanted, I guess he was like obsessed with his lips. It's a fantastic video. I thought it was hilarious. It was one of his Confessions of a Disney Employee videos. But anyways, I mean, so Hunchback upon release was not super popular. I think it's one of those movies that grew with
taste.
Yeah.
Taste for it.
Well, you have to have a taste for it, but over time, it's like, I think it's become more appreciated by people. Like, I don't talk to people and be like, The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Disney, and everybody's like, oh my god, ugh. But probably back when people was released, I mean, this isn't like your typical Disney
There's no
musical.
princess, there's no...
Well, I mean, she's a yeah, well, that's, anyway,
Oh,
but the story is, like, it's a dark story, and I said that doesn't hold back punches. Like, it's not nice. It's not a nice story. Like, it's not really nice to Quasimodo.
Yeah.
It's not even that nice to Esmeralda. Really, the only person it's nice to is the dude that Esmeralda falls in love with, who isn't Quasimodo.
Who does
which is
get
a load of
shot.
garbage, by the way.
Yeah, the hero doesn't end up with the girl.
Yeah.
That's another thing that's different about this.
And Quasimodo literally and figuratively breaks his chains. I thought that was nice.
It's a very overcoming
scene.
movie.
Oh, man. But I did say the opening felt too long. It lasted like 15 minutes before you really got into the story.
Because you hate backstory.
No, it wasn't backstory. It was just like... It was like they were setting up the movie for 15 minutes. And these movies aren't that long to be... They're like an hour and a half at most to begin with.
Yeah.
So they're spending 15 minutes setting up the movie, which they don't do in... Mulan just begins. Even Hercules, which I didn't think was that great. I didn't think it was like a fantastic movie. At least it didn't take 15 minutes to get into it. It just was a slow start. It does pick up though. Once it starts though, it's good. Like it's a good movie. But it was a kind of a slow start. So what'd you give this? You already gave this right 10. Why am I even asking? 10 out of 10, of course, right? Needs a sequel. Story for me was a 9 out of 10. The only negative was that I thought the opening felt too long. Our next category is characters.
Characters I thought were all extremely good. You feel...
Any standouts?
Obviously, Quasi.
Well, yeah.
You feel his pain. Honestly, Apollo is a little... He's okay. He's just kind of...
We watched Hercules before this movie, and I think that after Hercules, he was super bland and just boring. Hercules was so boring. That Quasimodo was like a breath of fresh air to us.
I've grown up... I mean, I've always loved
For me, though... I hadn't seen this movie in a while.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I watch Hercules and I watch Hunchback, I'm like, Quasimodo, like, this guy he's an actual character. He actually has he's multi-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to him than just, I'm strong. Or I guess in his case would be, I'm ugly.
Yeah.
You know? There's
well,
more.
he was strong.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's multi-dimensional. But he's not just one thing where like Hercules was. So Quasimodo was just, to me, it was like a breath of fresh air.
Quasimodo was great.
Mm-hmm.
Esmeralda, I love Esmeralda. She's independent, spunky, feisty.
Esmeralda, yeah, strong.
Froyo.
Esmeralda was a strong female character.
Froyo is terrible and evil, and you're not supposed to like him. And they did a good job.
Yes, so
of
they nailed
not
him.
liking
Yeah,
him.
because he's the villain, and you don't like him. But at the same time,
his voice is amazing.
His voice is awesome. He's the perfect bad villain.
Yeah.
He is the polar opposite of Hades. Hades is like funny. Frollo is never funny. Frollo is not funny one time. But he's a believable character. Like I believe that he really existed.
I also love. Does he have a name? The narrator guy, the little.
Oh no, I don't.
I think he does.
Are you talking about the jester dude?
Yeah, the jester.
He probably does. I just don't know what his name is.
I love him.
I know the gargoyles. Like that's the first thing they mention on the back of the box. I know they're there,
okay.
but they're only in the movie for like 5 minutes. Like they only have they don't have that much talking in this movie.
They don't have a lot of.
Considering they're at the top of the story on the box, you think they would be like important.
They're just the. I mean,
they kind of support Quasimodo.
They're just there so Quasi has someone to talk to,
yeah.
And that's kind of the point: is are they even alive? Like,
I did like Jason Alexander, who most people know if they've seen Seinfeld. George from Seinfeld. He voiced one of the gargoyles. Well, out of all the gargoyles, he's the only person they listed the voice actor for. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he was good in this movie. Unfortunately, I wish he had more lines. He was probably busy with Seinfeld, but wish he had more lines in this movie because the gargoyles were funny when they were on screen, but it just wasn't often enough. I wish it would have. They give some balance to the dark story because Quasi's not making any jokes, Esmeralda's not making any jokes, Frollo's not making any jokes, the jester's not funny. The jester doesn't ever make you laugh.
Apollo and the gargoyles were the two.
Yeah. Who's Apollo?
The sun god.
Oh, the blonde guy? I didn't even know what his name was, so she just told me. The blonde guy in the back of the box that Esmeralda falls in love with. He's a good character. I wish he didn't exist.
He's a pretty good character.
Yeah.
He was just, there wasn't a lot.
Oh! I wrote down there's a bonus. So the guy who voices Patrick from SpongeBob voices one of the guards in this movie. Like, when you hear it, you hear Patrick from SpongeBob. I promise, if you go back and watch it, and when the guards come up, you hear Patrick.
You think he's ugly now? Watch this. Now that's ugly.
It's Patrick from SpongeBob. It's the same voice. This is Patrick before Patrick existed. Was in Hunchback of Notre Dame by Disney.
Good to know.
I heard that voice and I was like, no way! Patrick is not in this movie. He is. He's just a guard. So, fun fact. I give the characters an 8 out of 10.
I gave the characters a 10 out of 10, but I just love this movie. I think they're...
She's so biased. That's why I'm the filmmaker. Next up is music. The music for me was kind of a mixed bag. I thought the opening song, The Bells of Notre Dame, I still remember that song. It's the most epic song I think Disney's ever made. In any of their movies. And I do mean epic. That's not being used wrong here. It's actually epic. Oh my gosh, it really does set the tone for the movie. It's just that's why I said earlier when the movie takes too long to get into it, because after that song I was like ready for the story to start. Like the bells of Notre Dame. All right, let's get into this, but then it takes a little while to get into it. So that was a pacing issue. But yeah, the bells of Notre Dame. Oh my gosh. But after that, the rest of the songs are just. I thought they were whatever. But what do you think?
I disagree again.
Of course you do. This
I
movie
love
is your child,
the music
basically.
in this movie. Bells of Notre Dame is amazing.
Fantastic.
Amazing song. But then you have a whole theme throughout the movie that, and maybe I just noticed this, but the themes interlock, the music interlocks, like the message of the music continues throughout the whole song. Obviously, we end again with Bells of Notre Dame. But just...
Obviously. They didn't know that unless you've seen the movie.
Well, we have.
We do, though. We do. It opens and ends with the Bells of Notre Dame, and it's the perfect bookend. It's the perfect bookend in the movie for the song.
But I'm Froyo's song where he's like battling his desires for Esmeralda.
Like fire, hellfire, this fire in my skin.
I thought that song was incredible.
Yeah.
Again, the theme is carried out throughout.
You're correct that the theme's carried. I just thought that the music itself was okay at best. Aside from the Bells of Notre Dame. I'm talking about the music, not themes.
Well,
The theme of the movie is it's persistent, and we didn't mention it earlier, but the setting is really well set up in the story. Like the story setting, like once again,
Like
Disney does a
animation.
fantastic job with their setting. Oh yeah, I guess it is animation. We'll get that to when we get that. But
I have no fault with this. The music in this. Again, I guess there was nothing like that would stand out.
there's one of the
like,
songs that you're gonna go singing though.
I sing them.
You're a weirdo. It's not like I guess we keep comparing it, but To Be a Man from Mulan is kind of the bar we have at this moment. And that's the song that I will randomly sing. I'll just be like, to be a man, but I'll never go, the bells of Notre Dame, because it's not one of those songs. It's a great song, but there's no song in this movie.
Okay, just because it's not singable doesn't mean it's good music. Not good music.
You're correct. I just think
I
Bells
like
of
the
Notre Dame is
music.
the only good song.
I like the music. I gave it a 10 out of 10.
All right, I give it a 5 out of 10 because Bells of Notre Dame single-handedly got that 5. Next up is animation. Man, I don't know how exactly what team's working on which movies, but I feel like the Hunchback of Notre Dame team was the same team that did Mulan because the animation was flawless. Like you had Hunchback, then Hercules, then Mulan, and Hunchback and Mulan were like flawless with animation, and Hercules was kind of like had some amateur hour stuff in there, but yeah, I mean it nails the Paris setting, look and feel, including the color palette, which I don't know, like I usually don't notice colors as much unless it's like blatant, but the color palette in this movie really fit the entire setting of a darker movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I give it an 8 out of 10. Man, I don't notice all the details like you do, but I thought it was good. It fit the setting, everything. There was nothing like awkward or out of place like in Hercules.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. I mean,
It was.
Yeah.
I give the animation a 10 out of 10. I just didn't find a single flaw in the movie, and I can't fault them. I mean, it was and I remember it. That's the thing. I remember that the animation was really well done, and it's been a little. We watched this a little while ago, and it was great. But yes, animation 10 out of 10. You said 8 out of 10.
For Apollo's hair, I mean, his hair
You don't like-
is just terrible.
You don't like his hair? Maybe it's kind of cliche. Our last category is Christian nutritional value.
I thought there was a lot of good value in this movie. The main theme that I got out of it is obviously it's not what matters on the outside, it's what's on the inside. So even though you have Froyo, who's this priest, he's, in charge of like the whole city, and he's very religious and stuff, he's obviously evil inside. And then you have Quasi, who's deformed and ugly, but yeah, on the inside he is good and he's sweet and he's kind and he loves people. And I just like that theme because I think we can get too wrapped up on the outside and being religious and everything, and not focusing so much on the inside. And there is a priest in the movie who he's not in it a lot, but like it shows that you can also be a good.
Yeah, I mean, the church is looked upon, except for by Frollo, but who cares?
Yeah,
who cares what he thinks?
A positive
the
image.
church is positive in this movie. It's definitely not negative. It houses Quasimodo. Whenever somebody escapes there and I forgot what the word was.
Sanctuary.
Sanctuary. When they say sanctuary, they're like, all of a sudden they're like, what, free from getting handcuffed or whatever?
Yeah, you can't be arrested if you claim sanctuary in a church.
Can we go to a church here and not get arrested? Like, could we just go to our local non-denominational church and get some coffee and laugh at the cops as they're standing outside the door waiting for us to go get out and just say, sanctuary! I'm Jehovah Java. Sanctuary! Back then, though, apparently that was a thing. Not today. Don't think you can just commit a crime and go to church and get out of it. It's not how it works. Though, if you did, I think there would be a lot more people at church. Not for the right reasons.
Probably the people that need to be at church then.
Yeah. Just not for the right reasons.
Anyways.
But I said, I agree with you. It's not about how you look on the outside. That was the main thing with Quasimodo. But I feel like they kind of undercut that a little bit by not having Esmeralda end up with Quasi. I mean, had they done it right, she should have ended up with Quasi.
No, that was realistic, though.
Why? Because of how he looks? That undercuts the point of the story is what I was saying. That undercuts the fact that it's not about how you look on the outside. But for her, it kind of was. It really was. Esmeralda is not a perfect character, obviously.
But she's realistic. I mean,
really. Okay, if we were going for realistic, but this is a Disney movie, we're supposed to follow
Have
your
you
heart.
never known historically any hunchback to be married? That was rude. Never mind. You can strike that from the comments.
No, I'm not striking that. That's staying in. I said God is actually prayed to and looked upon favorably, which was, I guess.
God help the outcast. That's another good
yeah,
song.
I thought God Help the Outcast was boring. I even specifically labeled that song. We just have different tastes in music. She has an actual degree in music, so she knows what she's talking about more so than me when it comes to that. But I said that Esmeralda's kindness to Quasimodo is a positive. She's kind of she's a gypsy, which I guess was looked upon not favorably. As you watch the movie, you kind of get that. Because I personally don't know. I don't know the history of this time period and Notre Dame. I played Assassin's Creed, but that didn't tell me anything about gypsies. So, Esmeralda's kind of Quasi. She's kind of an outcast too, but not like he is. He's a whole different ballgame. I put Frollo manipulating Quasimodo and him freeing himself of it. It's a plus and minus.
Well, it starts out as a negative thing.
Yeah, because he manipulates Quasi, but then there was a setup and payoff. And the setup was him manipulating Quasi. But then the payoff of...
He becomes free.
Yeah, like Quasi gets away from that.
Well, that's all he's ever known.
Because, that's all he knew. And Quasi's going along with it. Frollo's manipulating him, and Quasi doesn't know better. So he's just like, yes, master, and I'll do whatever you want. I want to make you happy, because you're basic to him, that's his father. But then, yes, Quasi does break free of it and become his own man. And that's good. Though Frollo doesn't learn his lesson. No lessons learned. Church is referred to as a prison by Judge Claude Frollo, though, if you want to look at it, he's the bad guy.
No, church is referred to as a prison because that's what it is for Frollo. Like, he is enslaved in religion.
Yeah, because obviously he's not. He
doesn't have a relationship with God.
He doesn't. He's not a Christian. But because of the time period, and because he's a leader, he's viewed as somebody who is. I mean, it's just the time period where church was in charge. That's why there's a separation of it now, because you get all that mixed up together. And then I put that Claude Frollo, it depends on how you want to look at this one. I put it as a negative, but he struggles with sin and the dark side. Not Star Wars dark side, but he struggles with, I guess, being dark. I like that they included a scene where you see him struggling. It's not, I'm just a cliche bad character.
Yeah, well, he's an actual man.
Yeah, he's a real human being, and you get that from the movie. It's not just...
I don't think that's a negative. I mean...
That's what I said. I guess when I watched it, I put that, but in reflection, I don't think that's probably as negative. I would have to rewatch it to make sure, to double check. That's a plus minus.
I don't know. It depends on your view of it.
Well, as an adult, it's a plus.
Yeah.
Yes, but as a child, that might be a little bit confusing. That might be why I put it negative. Because the Christian nutritional value also includes, like, it's a kid's movie. It's meant for kids. So the movie is really dark for children.
It is dark.
But I would recommend it for children. I mean, the Christian nutritional value, I gave a 7 out of 10. What'd you give it?
9 out of 10.
Yeah, do you have any knocks on it to knock it from a 10? Or?
Well, even though God is prayed to and stuff, there is still the whole... you make yourself what you are.
Yeah.
You
It wasn't God that freed
Yeah.
Quasimodo
Yeah.
from his manipulation. It wasn't, and I guess that would have been really cliche Christian to do it, but he could have helped in some, like, he could have thanked God. I don't know, like, it's Disney, so I don't expect Disney.
Right.
I don't expect Disney to do the correct thing when it
That's
comes
why
to
I don't think there won't be any Disney movie that'll get a 10 out of 10 for me, because they won't have God in it.
Yeah, but this is about as close as it gets. And even though I gave it 7 out of 10, it's probably could be higher depending on your view. You give it 9. I have no issue with a 9 out of 10. It's about as close as you're gonna get from a Disney movie, unless they actually made a Christian movie, which I highly doubt. But if they did, but until then, that's 7 out of 10, 9 out of 10. So our final score for Hunchback of Notre Dame is an 85 out of 100. And I guess most of the points I knocked off were for music, because I gave it a 39 out of 50, personally, and 5 points were from music. So if you like the music more, it's a pretty flippin' good movie. I mean, it's a good movie regardless, just I thought the music was weak.
It is a good movie. It is dark, like we said, so it's not going to be for everyone.
Yeah.
But on the whole, it's very well presented.
Yeah, you could definitely have your kids, like, it is a darker movie, but this, unlike Hercules, there's not a lot you have to go into explanation. It is a darker movie.
Yeah.
So if your kid, I guess if your kid's like struggling with depression, probably don't watch Hunchback. I mean, I don't know. I can't sit here and say that, but it is a good movie for adults and for children. It is a little dark, so beware. But other than that, yeah, it's fantastic. We highly recommend it. Stay tuned, as next time we review the DreamWorks movie Road to El Dorado. This one's a little different than our other reviews, so definitely subscribe. You're not going to want to miss it. Bye!